Welcome to Sing Scarlet. It is Shelby here with Tyler, and we are here for your Friday morning Texas Tech Sports recap show, recording it in the wee hours of Friday morning, late night after Texas Tech soccer wrapped up earlier with a 1-1 draw against Houston. A very physical match, lots of shoving, lots going on in that. We'll talk about that more, but good of them to come back in the last 8 minutes and get a point out of that. And we'll talk about why it really didn't change anything at all. And I'm not even being biased when I say that. When you go look at the Big 12 standings, because the Big 12 is a mess right now in a good way because there's so many good teams, and then the RPI didn't really either. So that's good. We'll talk more about that. Also, the best things we saw this week, we're about to get into that. We have a few of those. Iowa State preview for soccer as well. Volleyball lost to Baylor. We'll talk about that. They have also a game on Saturday at 1 p.m. You can watch that on ESPN State. Again, ESPN Plus. They play at Houston, so Houston Hate Week continues. Get back for soccer, girls. Get them back. Softball, fall ball update. As always, I was at the Tuesday game. Have all the notes from that. And then, as promised, we're going to get into some notes from the basketball first week of practice on the men's and the women's side. I actually got to watch a little bit of a women's scrimmage, and theirs men's was not open to the media practice, just press conference and stuff, some notes from that. But I will go just a few things that I saw on that, and then Bailey Maupin spoke to the media, wrote a story on her already. If you didn't see that, you can go read it. If not, we'll hit the high notes. Whew. All right, that's what we're getting into, Tyler. How you doing? And then you can kick off the best things you saw this week.
Yeah, first I want to give a shout out to Red Raider Nation. Honestly, I think that between these past 2 days, I really think that the attendance was great, all things considering. I mean, for Wednesday and Thursday night matchup, volleyball broke 1,000. We only broke 1,000 once last year, which was ironically against Baylor, but this year we already broke 1,000 this early into Big 12 play. So hopefully more and more of y'all
It
can
was a
come
great
out.
environment.
It really was. It
I
really
had
was
a
a
good
fun
time.
environment. I did too. I mean, sometimes the volleyball wasn't necessarily a good time on the court, but I mean the fan experience and atmosphere. I mean, I thought it was very very hype. So shout
Good
out to y'all
stuff.
for showing up for that blackout game. And then also shout out to the soccer fans tonight. We had 915 fans there. I think the place was popping. The student section was popping. We had all sorts of things going on.
Smoke. I asked for
Smoke,
smoke and they
yes,
didn't.
red
I'm just so
smoke,
happy.
yes.
I was so hype about the PK that I missed it until it was already floating off in the air, but
Right.
I'm going to be ready next time for it.
Shelby ready. It was like Christmas morning for Shelby today at the soccer
It
game.
was great. It was a real soccer environment. I
It
mean, just
was.
good stuff. Good stuff.
And then yeah, let's kick into the best things we saw this week. So first for me, for promotions, we got to have our soccer gals come out. It was Z, Sam, Peyton, and Faith, and they came out and handed out
Good
popsicles
group.
to students at the sub and flyers, and they told the students to go to the games. They were even even handed out a flyer to a student on a skateboard while he was going past. I mean, they
Oh.
did all sorts of things. They were given a ball and trying to see if students could score off of their pass. Some students were really
Yeah.
great. Some students don't ever touch a soccer ball again. But I mean, they were great. They were interacting with students. They loved it. I mean, they were just, I mean, this is just such a great group of girls. And I'm really glad that they got to really interact with students because I really feel like that helps whenever students are seeing, oh, yeah, like this is a fellow colleague of mine that I may go to class to. Like, I need to go support them on Thursday night. So that was one of my great things that I saw.
All of that. Mine was back at the volleyball game. I had a time. I was sitting near the going band. Those guys and gals are hilarious. I mean, they were talking shit like we were up 3-0, like about to run Baylor out the gym. I mean, they were going to town on there every time Baylor was serving. They're like, oh, like she's not good, she's not good. Like didn't matter. Like they were just coming up with stuff. Making at one point they were yelling, "That's pass interference!" Like they were just making up sports lingo, chants. I was crying laughing. So that was very entertaining. You'd have to ask Baylor if it affected them or not. But hey, they did have quite a few serving errors into the net. We'll talk
I
about that in a
did.
minute. But hey, and Texas Tech found a way to come back and win one set. Well, maybe it's the going band that helped them out there. I wanted to give a shout out to them because that was probably my favorite thing that I saw this week.
Band was super hype. I mean, yeah, we absolutely love that from them. And then my next the best thing that I saw this week was just military appreciation night at soccer. Really appreciate us getting the cadets out there. They got to help with the team run out. They got really great seats tonight. Got a great view of the
Love
game. So
it.
definitely, I love. I mean, these students will eventually go into the forces and serve our country. They're willing to die for our country. So this was the least that we could do for them is provide them on the field soccer experience and then great seats in the stands. So shout out to them. Great job. And then shout out to Nicole Payne, who's director of promotions and fan engagement for soccer, for organizing all that. That staff did such a good job for military appreciation.
Yeah, I'll second that. I think that's such a cool thing that we should do every time.
Hmm.
They deserve whatever they want. I saw them do a
Yes,
little like halftime soccer game and everything. Like they have them out every game as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they're the only reason we're all standing. Or they're about to be the only reason we're all standing here doing what we're doing,
for
recording this right
sure.
now. They're willing to go put their lives on the line. So I always appreciate when we have military appreciation night. So good job, y'all, marketing team. Last thing, I want to give a shout out to my guy Austin, student reporter at the Daily Torador. We were the only people at the soccer post game press conference today. I know it was late, but yeah, I just want to give a shout out to him. So good job, Austin.
Good job.
Way to do your thing. Hopefully, more media will come out and watch one of the best programs on campus in the future. Speaking of soccer, recap against Houston. They got out of there with a 1-1 draw. Um, was pretty sloppy throughout on our behalf. We have a clip from Tom. He'll probably talk about that. Turned it over quite a bit. I thought in the first half, it was kind of, I described it as like a little bit of a tug of war between possession. I thought both teams had chances, like where they were controlling things. There was a good stretch in the middle of the first half where we were really controlling things. Like we kind of weathered their storm to begin the game. And then I was like, oh, we took back control of the game. We're good. And we had all those corners and just couldn't finish them. Um, and then the second half started and we were really good for the first 2 minutes, had a couple of really dangerous chances. And then I thought Houston took over and it kind of felt like it's only a matter of time before something happens here. Good for them. And sure enough, they get a really nice goal, which heck of a shot. Curved it around the keeper, took it in an awkward spot. Maybe a little late getting over there by the defense, but she took it right outside the box and great shot by her. She's a freshman. She's the reigning Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week and the reigning Big 12 Freshman of the Week. Is a girl that made it for Houston. And so good on her. And then it just kind of was wearing down through the game. We eventually get a PK chance. Again, was that the third game in a row? Thank you VAR coming in clutch for us of late off of a replay. Molly Krasinski did a great job to win the PK, and then Macy Blackburn, who made sure that the ref knew that he needed to go to the review. That girl is a menace on the field. She cracks me up. She made sure he knew that he needed to review that. He went and reviewed it. They got the PK and tied it up at least. And that was with like less than 8 minutes to go. So it was getting a little, losing to Houston would not be good. Drawing is like, you can live with that, but losing, let's not. And then we had a couple of really big chances right after that. I genuinely think if they had about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, probably just 5 minutes left in more of that game, the way they turned it on in the last 15 minutes, I think Texas Tech would have found the winner. They just didn't have enough time once they flipped that switch. And I don't think this will be in the highlight of the press conference clip we showed you, so I'll just bring it up. But I asked Tom around the 15-minute mark, there was an injury timeout, which you don't usually get in soccer. Both teams went back to their bench. They had time to chat, so I just asked him if anything changed in that formation-wise. And he actually said, about 5 minutes before that, there was a brief stoppage where they changed formation and they went to a 4-4-3, and Macy Blackburn, who is a backline defender, actually moved up to the front and was an attacker, which you kind of saw, and then they moved Kylie and some other people around, so they had 4 people in the front, so on and so forth, and just were kind of even as having one person back at times. You could see that we were trying to equalize, and we just created a lot of chances. And then that break happened, and he said at the break, y'all are doing a good job of putting pressure on at times. Now just basically go out there and put so much pressure on them that they're going to break. They're going to give you a corner chance. They're going to foul you in the box, which they end up doing, or you're going to get a goal. And after that little timeout, it was chance. Like we were really putting the pressure on, and we just couldn't quite get it. Almost had a handball. Shout out Riley Greason, front flip, doing her thing. Almost got a handball out of that. Didn't get that. We did win the PK and we scored. So I appreciate that they came back and won. Like I said to open the show, it genuinely didn't change anything because the Big 12, I warned y'all before we started the Big 12 play that the Big 12 was going to be insanity this year. And I fear that I was correct. I think there's maybe like one team that's won both their games so far, and it's TCU. There might be one other. I think it might just be
It
TCU.
is just
And they played
TCU.
kind of the. That's insane. There's 16 teams or whatever there is, and one of them, Tyler, is 2-0
Yep.
after 2 games.
Yep.
Absurd results. And they've played the two worst teams, arguably, two of the bottom couple teams on paper. We'll see. Kansas State's done well, but they played Kansas State and Utah to start Big 12 play. So their schedule's about to get harder. Everybody else is either 0-2, 1-1, or like us, 1-0-1 with a tie. There's a bunch of people with draws after 2 games. Nothing's changed because you know why? We play TCU, Tyler. So we do what we should the rest of the way. We beat TCU. We were Big 12 champs. Like, literally nothing's changed. RPI literally didn't change. We were 30 in the RPI going into this game, 30 after the RPI in the live updating one. That's usually pretty correct. So from that thing, getting that draw late was big. Found a way to get it done. They're not happy with it, as you'll see in the clip. But to have that about them, to find their way to a point on a night where you weren't that good, is what championship teams have to do sometimes. They got to clean that up now before we go to Iowa State, but literally nothing changed. That's the truth. So I'm going to take that as a win and move on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we got to take what we can get. I mean, this team has just been like a roller coaster because it's just like, yeah, like we haven't scored like a goal, and run a play, but we also are creating
Spend it.
these opportunities that have been great. Like, we're able to draw these penalties and get these PKs, and VAR has been able to, help us out and solidify that decision. We've been able to capitalize on corners, and you look at that Baylor, the opening up against Baylor in Waco, and how important that win actually is, because that's why we're staying at 30 in the RPI, because Baylor, you said, ended
Yep.
up moving up right to like number 9 already, correct?
Because Baylor beat number 14 in the nation poll wise, Kansas tonight at Kansas 3-0.
Whoa. Yeah.
And you just beat Baylor at Baylor. So
Wow.
the Big 12's crazy this year. So like nothing really changed except you missed out on a chance to really propel yourself to have a lead in the Big
Right.
12. But you just go do what you do. So yeah, that Baylor win gets better every day. Yeah, you now have a top 10 RPI win under your belt on the road.
Wow. Yeah, no, that really is helping us out a lot. And tonight I do appreciate us fighting back. I mean, every minute counts in soccer, right? And we would know that best in this game. And just being able to get that, to be able to draw that penalty to tie it up, because yeah, you really could not come out of here with a loss, because then things start getting a little squirrely. There's still a lot of season left to be played, but I'm just glad that we got out with a draw, and that not much really happened. There's obviously things that we have to clean up. Again, like I said, I would love to see a goal and run of play. I would love to see things get cleaned up in the middle a little bit. It seemed like we were just letting people get past us quite a bit in that. Sometimes it was like our intensity. You and I both talked about this. Like the intensity was there, but it was just we just couldn't finish on anything. Like things were just passes were just getting like kind of like whack sometimes. Like it just didn't make any like I don't know. It was a lot kind of like some situations we had last year, but I didn't think that today was necessarily a intensity issue. I mean, the girls wanted it. They were getting frustrated after every single slight missed opportunity. I mean, they were all like, Macy was just like, ugh, like, come on, we were so close. So, I mean, it was just like, just little things
Z
like
was
that.
about to throw down
Oh,
with
no.
that one
Oh, my
girl. I
God.
mean,
Yes.
this was one of the moments of the game. I need y'all to just Taylor Shadreski out. Love you so much. So I don't understand why they called a foul on her. She was about to get a breakaway. I need to go back and watch the replay. I thought they blew the whistle on the other girl, and I was like, why are you stopping it? She has the advantage. But apparently they blew the whistle on Z. I don't. Maybe she shoved her. I have no idea. But anyway, then the girl gets pissed and like shoves Z, and Z doesn't move. Tyler doesn't move,
Just a
stares at
rock.
her. And then 3 other Houston people come up to her like she's just gonna intimidate Taylor, and she's like stares at her, just doesn't move for the entire exchange. And there's like multiple Cougars like trying to get a reaction out of her, and she's just like. I mean, at one point she's probably like doing one of these numbers, and then Macy comes and breaks it up, and Macy had some words too. So no, I agree. The intensity was there. Macy always has words.
Always.
Love her.
It's so
She's
funny.
an
We love it.
absolute menace on the field. They should mic her up. I think people would be shocked in the best way possible.
Yes.
Anyway, I agree. I don't know if the players would agree with it or if it's like the right way to describe it. But what I said to you afterwards is I feel like the intensity was there for the most part, but the focus wasn't.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's the proper word, but yeah, even this jump, we came out really good at the beginning of this game. It's just like we couldn't finish. We couldn't make those passes, those connections. They were going out of bounds. They were going anywhere where we wanted them to. And then there was even some great crosses, some great moments for people that are usually pretty clinical at finishing didn't, or they went over the goal, didn't even make it on frame. And that to me is like a focus thing, is like those minute things. I don't know if they were too wired up or what, but it was like I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but that's what I would say is it wasn't an intensity issue. And maybe this is the difference between being in person and watching San Francisco on stream because it was such a weird stream.
Hmm.
That felt like an intensity issue. I was like, what's going on? And we also weren't making passes in that. And what did we say now that I'm thinking about it? If the intensity is there on a day where you're not making passes and you're not playing well, you at least get out of San Francisco with a draw.
For sure.
Tonight, we were not making passes. We were not playing well together for the most part. There's a few people we'll shout out in a minute after we show Tom's clip that I thought were good for sure. But for the most part, we weren't connecting as the chain goes enough to get there. But the intensity was there enough that we just forced our way into a goal. We forced the issue in those final 15 to get a goal. And as Tom said, he's like, I was really proud of them and really happy with how they went and got that goal in the final 15. But I don't know what but he said it didn't. He didn't say I don't know, but he said, but I'm not happy basically with the fact that that wasn't there for the first 75. So he might not agree with us about the intensity thing, but I didn't think intensity necessarily, for the most part, was an issue. Definitely not at the end, but yeah, focus just wasn't there. I don't know what the right way to describe it is, but that's how I would say it. Intensity was there, but the focus, like on the small moments, wasn't. So let's show this from Tom, and then we'll talk about some few notes after that.
Definitely not satisfied with that. We're proud that we fought back. We felt like we were playing against 12 at times and defending a lot of aspects of the game that we brought on ourselves. We were kind of self-inflicted wounds in several cases. I mean, our turnover ratio was outrageous. Part of that was Houston. I said before, this is a team that's on the move. I think Ben's done a phenomenal job. There's a reason he got great results everywhere he's ever been, and he's getting great results here. So Houston deserves a lot of credit, but the number of times we kicked the ball out of bounds or kicked it right to the other team, that wasn't Houston. That was us being poor, and not our best performance at home for sure. Fortunate that we got the opportunity to win it late or tie it late and salvage the point. So we're happy with that, but overall, not very pleased.
Yeah, that about sums it up. What would you expect? I don't really have much more to say than what he just said and what we've already talked about. We were sloppy on kind of passing, had chances to really control possession, but we just would make a pass out of bounds or to the other team. And again, Houston, like he said, is a good program. We talked about that in our preview. Like, it's a different Houston. You saw that. But you still have more talent than them. And as I said before, our best is better. But our best tonight was just okay. And so that was enough to get out of there with a draw. If our best played their best, we would have won that. And that's the truth. That's not a shot at Houston. They're going to get there. I'm a big believer in that coach. And if Houston is smart and keeps them around, it's going to be great for the Big 12. Little question that they will do that. But I hope he sticks around in the Big 12 and doesn't get scooped up somewhere else. He's going to build a really competitive program there. He's already got them there. They were celebrating this draw like they won the national championship. And we can laugh at that, but I also don't really blame them because they finished second to last year, new coach, and they're undefeated, have a win over Texas, and now they have a draw with Texas Tech. Those are two of the best soccer programs in the state, and they just did that when they've been historically one of the worst. So I get it from Houston's perspective, but we were not happy with the draw. That's what I asked him to lead up to that question. I said Houston was celebrating. I'm assuming y'all are not celebrating the draw, and he was like, yeah, no. So it's just difference in where you are as a programs, but I'm really excited to watch Houston the rest of the year. If they can stay healthy, they're not super deep, so that's going to be, if they lose another player or two, it's going to be tough for them, but if they can do that, they're going to be fun. But yeah, overall, just got to be better. A few people that I thought were one in particular, which I was glad Tom gave her a shout out in the post game. I'm not surprised he did because I thought it was really impressive with Gianna Gregoria. I need to learn how to say her last name. I'm gonna do that right now, Gianna, because you earned it. But she hasn't played since the SMU game, and I was starting to wonder if she was available or whatnot. But I think it's just we haven't been playing a lot of doubles, and she hasn't had her opportunity. True freshman. But they kind of threw her in at the end of this with some other people's story came in and some other people, Skylar Hawsey. And I thought she was really good, and I thought that's a lot of trust to throw at a freshman who hasn't played in a few matches, and she finished the game basically, played almost 30 minutes, and she won some really, really tough headers in the middle. She was actually passing it pretty well as a midfielder, and we had changed our formation at that point, so she had a lot of stress on her defensively as well, because Houston was still at times trying to go win it. They were okay with the draw, but they were pressing forward at times, and there would be like two of us back there because we were putting so many people up, and she was one of them. So anyway, I wanted to give her a shout out. We're probably going to need her on Sunday on a quick turnaround. True freshman who's going to be a really good player in this program. We've talked about her before. It's just been a while. We haven't seen her in a long time. And so for her to come in there and do that, I thought, again, president of her fan club, Molly Skrasinski, thought she was pretty solid on a night where maybe the passing wasn't there overall. Thought she had some good connections. She's the one that earned the PK. Macy Blackburn is just relentless. She'll probably tell you not even her best night, but she was like, gosh darn it, we're not going to lose. And so I think that's my biggest takeaway is nothing really changed statistically. For everything's still ahead of them. And Texas Tech found a way to at least get a point when they weren't good tonight. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Any other final thoughts? Then we can jump into what's next on Sunday.
Yeah, no, I think let's just jump into what's next Sunday. Not much to really talk about. We drew with them. Oh, well, we just move on.
I feel
Iowa
like I should be a lot more mad than I am. I don't know why.
No, I feel the same way
I had
too.
like a pit in my stomach all week that I was like really worried about Houston.
For
I know we
sure.
were talking about that before. So I think like getting out of that with a draw, I think we were kind of the guinea pigs of the conference to see if Houston was legit or not. And I think, I don't know that I'm like, I still think if we played our best, we would have beaten them. So
For
like,
sure.
let's not get crazy.
Yeah.
But from compared to where they were picked to finish in conference, I could see them making the top 8 and making the Big 12 tournament for sure. But we'll see how it's the health thing because they had a couple players go down tonight. Yeah, so we'll see how they hold up. But yeah, credit to them for sure. So Iowa State is another team who Tom said in his post game, which hopefully the team will have posted. And we kind of talked about that in our last episode that it felt like we were playing all these similar style teams right in a row. And he said that basically like Baylor, Houston, Iowa State are very similar teams. Mm-hmm. And certainly Houston and Iowa State, if you don't take them seriously, they will beat you. And he said it wasn't an issue with Houston. Like he didn't feel like his team didn't take them seriously. But if you do that at Iowa State in a tough place to play, they will sneak up on you. They're having a better season. They lost tonight to a good Colorado team 3-1. But I don't think they had lost in a while since early in the season. Much higher in the RPI and much better record. They've been scoring goals, which Iowa State does not usually score goals. So maybe a little bit more aggressive of a team. They usually park the bus, and it's very frustrating to play them, which is kind of what we've been facing. But these teams have been attacking, so they must be attacking now, Tyler. I've only watched snippets of one of their games a couple of weeks ago. I was hoping to watch the Colorado game before we recorded, but I forgot it didn't start until it was like finishing right before we started.
Oh, I see.
There's no way I could watch it. But yeah, good team. They got a win to start Big 12 play. They beat Arizona, I believe. So they got a Big 12 win under their belt already. What do you got on Iowa State?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know that Ames can be a very weird place to play. It's one of those
Remember
places.
The Big 12 clinching game 2
Oh
years
gosh,
ago?
don't
Went
remind
down
me.
to the wire.
Stressful.
Had to
It was stressful.
Get a late goal.
It was, yeah. But this is like, I don't know, and like, when you look at these games, you're like, okay, you could settle for a draw. A win is obviously what you need at best, but it's like I just feel like that there's such a big gap between a draw and a loss onto where you're going to be at as a program, and this is like this could be a trap game, and that's what Tom was talking about. Like, how are you going to get that locker room to get confidence? Like, bring in that. I mean, because like as a fan, like I don't know that Macy's PK tonight felt like, I mean, it was almost like a game-winning goal just because it's like you saved yourself from, having to start climbing out of holes, right? And because of the Big 12 helping us out and everything, we stay the same. Iowa State's a team that you can get worried about, and on paper,
Big 12. Whoa. What do you mean the Big 12 helping us out?
Well, the Big 12, losing, other people are losing and
Oh, the other
drawing and things
teams. I
like
thought you
that.
meant because of the PKs. I was like, they were legit. Like,
Oh,
let's
no, no, no,
not
no,
take
no, no, no,
away.
no,
All
not that. I was talking about the
right,
team.
yeah.
Yeah, no, sorry. No, I'm talking about the other
That's right.
teams. Yes.
Yeah, it's very competitive in the conference this year.
Yes,
For
yeah,
sure.
we're still sitting, right at number 2. Yes, sorry. Let me clarify that. No, but yeah, Iowa State. They're on paper. They are technically better than Houston just based on RPI. They're at an 88 as of the newly updated one. That's usually right. They're 4-2-2. They tied to Portland State and Drake. Drake is like one of those in-conference rivalry games, so take that for what it's worth. A lot of times, those small schools are going to play to the best of their abilities, even if everyone goes down. And then they lost to Iowa, pretty close, 0-1, and Iowa was ranked number 11, so they're pretty good. And then obviously they lost to Colorado tonight, 1-3. Massey, they're ranked number 60 in Massey. That is somewhat kind of high, pretty much for usual Iowa State team.
For Iowa State.
Yeah,
Their
for
offensive rank in Massey is, I don't even believe that. They have
82.
written down. Is that
Yeah,
accurate? Oh, is it
it is
82? I read that
82.
wrong.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought it
no,
said
no, no.
20.
Oh no,
For
no,
some
no,
reason,
no.
when you. Oh, the 24 next to
It's
it was throwing
us.
me off. Anyway,
Yeah,
continue.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
us. Okay, I was like, what?
Yeah, we're
Iowa
getting there.
State?
No, 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 no. We're getting
Sorry.
there. We're getting there. No, no.
Y'all heard my rant about Iowa State last year on the show. I'm not going to do it because I feel like they're not playing as boring this year. So I'm going to be like, yay, soccer. We're going to have a soccer game on Sunday.
Yeah, no. I mean, it should be a little bit more competitive. As I said, they're ranked 60, whereas we were ranked 12 in Massey. Their strength of schedule is 110, better than Houston's 200 number or whatever it was the other day. Their offense is an 82 ranking. We're number 24, and then their defense is a 71. And we're number 23. So they're about the same offensively and defensively. I mean, yes, ideally we should get the win, but yeah, this offense, I mean, it's led by goals by Morgan Goodman. Her name was popping up all over the stat sheet. Ella Zimmerman, she has 3. Taylor Spitzer, she has 2. Shots-wise, Megan Walters leads with 13 shots. Morgan Goodman leads with 12, or also has 12. Taylor Spitzer has 10, and Ella Zimmerman has 9. Assists, there's no really leader in assists. Most of them only have 1 assist. No one has 2 assists at all. So they're not very they all spread the wealth. They don't have a Macy Blackburn that's, accumulating assists like,
No
candy on
one does,
Halloween.
but I got
Right.
you.
No one does.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Saves, they have a pretty good goalie. She has 31 saves. Casey Canestraro. She also has 8 goals allowed on the season. So again, it's a little bit of a different Iowa State team than what we're used to seeing. That's why it could be a trap game. But we should win this game. Like, we need to win this game, honestly. But I haven't got to watch them play,
well,
but, just kind of
have
looking.
to win is a strong word, but I think this team would tell you that they need to win. I heard this team yelling from the sidelines, we need to win this game during the Houston game, which is why I love them. I even heard Faith Wynn saying, guys, the goal's going to come, and like 5 minutes later they get a PK. So they're going to go out there to win. But yeah, they're maybe a little bit different Iowa State team than we've seen in the past. Where I would joke that it felt like you're not playing soccer against them because they would literally just like keep everybody back, and it's like they were playing for draws, and they were playing. You know what it might be, Tyler? Credit the Big 12 on this. It felt like in the past you played Iowa State, they were just trying to make the Big 12 tournament because like that's what their administration told them or something. To make the Big 12 tournament this year, you have to be in the top 8, not just the top 12. So it's pretty hard relatively to make the Big 12 tournament. You got to be in the top half of the conference. And so they can't just take draws. They can't just get a draw with everyone and make their way in anymore. They're going to have to get some wins. So maybe that's part of it. I'm just throwing out narratives for fun. That's what the media does. But yeah, go down there. I think people off the bench will be important in this. Asked Tom that after the game. He said their fitness is really good on this team, which is true. So it sounds like he'll still lean on his backline people that have been playing a lot. Like they didn't play full 90s tonight because I think Macy and Kylie both came off for brief periods. Definitely Kylie did at one point in this game. But they'll probably play quite a bit. Macy Blackburn and Kylie Barr, and then but you might see some midfielders get some time, like Gianna and Raleigh and all those people. Who shout out Raleigh Greason? She got her first career start tonight. We didn't mention that, but well deserved. She's been playing well. But Alana, who had been, they kind of just played the same amount of minutes as they normally do, just swapped in and out. She still played well. So those types, Story Sexton, going to be big in this. Maybe it could have been a trap game if you hadn't drawn with Houston, but I don't think there's anything sneaking up on this Texas Tech team.
Yeah, especially after tonight. They're going for it.
Yeah, they cannot wait to get on the plane, or I assume they fly to Ames.
I
I'm
would
sure they're
hope.
ready. They would play tomorrow. If they allowed them, they would play tomorrow. But they'll get their recovery in. It's quick turnaround because 1 p.m. So recovery tomorrow, probably travel on Saturday and get to business early on Sunday. Get a dub, get right back on track before you come back home to take on Oklahoma State next week, I believe. So, yeah, let's do the damn thing.
Let's do it.
It's all in front of them. It feels like annoying, but I don't know why I'm not that pressed about it. Maybe it's just because I trust Texas Tech soccer. I've said that before 9 million times. I'm just like, benefit of the doubt. They'll figure it out. So now we'll go get work in, get a win. And once again, another top 100 RPI team. So this was like a top 200 if you're a lucky RPI game in the past. So a chance to maybe just stay status quo. And if these other people keep winning, maybe even move up.
Maybe so.
Maybe so. Volleyball, Tyler. I've already talked about my favorite part of the volleyball match was the going band. No, the girls did their thing. They won a set from Baylor. My take, for what it's worth, is if we could just serve a little bit better, probably would have been in that match, maybe even won another set. I think we got out-served or aced, if you will, like 9-1 or something. It was like 8-0 for a good portion of that. And it just felt like every time, both teams were having a lot of serving errors. I don't have the stats in front of me, but both teams had quite a few serving errors. But every time Baylor had an error, it was hitting into the net because they were like aggressively trying to get aces. And so when it did make it over, it was right over the net and hard to get, right? And it's like, I can live with basketball in me. I can live with an aggressive error. I'm going to say that translates to volleyball. I can live with that. But ours were like 5 feet past the end line. And so it was like we were trying to, maybe that is aggressive. Maybe they were trying to go for the back ends. I don't know. But it just felt like ours were that. And so even when we got them over, it was just like an easy ball to up and come right back at us. And so the digs were pretty even, at least for most of the match. I don't know if it got away from them in the final set, but throughout most of it, the digs were even. When you looked up the stats, even the blocks got pretty even. At some point, everything was pretty even. Kills, except for that. So I don't know if that is fundamental thing. The passing was a little all over the place as well sometimes. But that was hype. And then my other thing is Sierra Grizzle is very fun to watch play volleyball. I was there taking pictures. At some point I'll post them. But I just was like, I'm just going to, sometimes I was just focusing on her because I was like, she'll do some batshit crazy thing and make for a good picture. Which she plays a libero, so a position to do batshit crazy things often, so it works in her favor. But she's a good little athlete.
She is. No, she really is. And I mean, when you're looking at this game, I mean, I don't know if it was just because of all the energy from the fans that were there, because
Fans were
volleyball
great.
volleyball had a lot of fans at that game. But I just liked our fight in this. Like, I don't know. For me personally, we talk about how soccer we learned a lot from that first game against Baylor. Like, ironically, our first game against Baylor for volleyball conference opener. I guess we just following the same schedule at this point. But as soccer, kind of weird. But I don't know. I can see some life in this team. Like, I can still see, okay, I can try to see where we're potentially going to go. And that's what I really loved about this is, Baylor's a top 25 team, and yet we still were able to kind of expose them, right? They're obviously not going to be in the running for top of the Big 12. I really don't think that. There's way too many good teams above them, which is really scary to think about as we go further into the year. But this was definitely a winnable game that we could have won, and our errors really, really, really did kill us. And also, we have got to start sets better. I mean, that second set that we won, we actually were down like 5-0, and then like that third set we were down
7-0 at some point.
Yeah, it might have been
I'm not gonna
7-0, or
lie.
maybe it was the third set that was
7-0.
7-0. It's just like that
I
can't
think
happen.
the second set we were down 7-0 and then came back and won, which is very impressive. But yes,
It
let's
hurts
stop
you
digging a hole.
because like
We
I
say
think
from
in
our
the
couch.
yeah, no, for sure. And I think that there was a set also where, we just could not get the game like any less than within 3, and it's because we started that one set 3-0, and it's just like, why? Like, why did we start 0-3? Like, why can we not fight? And then when we were fighting in the fourth set going back to back, we were doing great, and then all of a sudden we just can't serve. can't make a serve to save our life, and then we let Baylor go on a 6-0 run in set 4. We were at 13 to 15, and then they go on and make it be 21 to 13. At that point, the game's over. All because you let these silly little runs get ahead of you because of silly things like service errors. And my thing on that is this. I like what you were saying. I like how Baylor, yeah, they served it into the net, whatever. They were trying to be aggressive and try to get it to just, go down. Us trying to aim for that back spot, while that's a strategy, when you like I would just say just try to hit it and get it within play, because when you have someone like Sierra Grizzle that's in the back at libero that's been able to save like
Right.
everything pretty much, like everything.
She's
When you have
nice.
when you have one of the best, I'm gonna go on and say she's probably one of the best liberos in the Big 12. Honestly, like I will say that she looked amazing in this
I'll
game.
take your word for it.
No, I mean, she looked amazing in this game. Let Baylor play into it and let Sierra try to save it, and then you can get something into play. But why are we just constantly just hitting it out of the line? Like, it's just annoying. Like, just let it go and play and just see what we can do with it. Blocking needs to be cleaned up as well while I'm going on my rant. Like, blocking guys. Like, I mean,
Oh no.
I just think that our timing was off a lot on our blocks, and it's like if we could get a block or two, I mean, that really would have helped us. I don't know. I just felt like in this game there were so many moments where it felt like it was winnable and we could pull off the upset, and then there were other times where we were just going back to like, you know, what we're used to seeing. But I mean, the errors killed us. In set 1 we had 6 errors. Set 2 we had 5 errors. Ironically, guess what set we won? The set where we only had 5 errors. Set 3 we had 4 errors, but like that game got blown out of proportion way off the bat. We got down by 10, so there wasn't much we could do at that point. And in set 4, the set that I thought that maybe we could have won to kind of tie things up and force set 5, 9 errors. 9.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah, it's
a
just like
lot.
the fundamental stuff, and I don't know if that's the youth or what. Kind of similar last year as well on that. There was a lot of errors. Last year, I thought we were really good serving though, and it was like errors just like in the actual offensive side of it. A
Hmm.
lot of the errors came in like the passing and stuff. This year, I feel like they're better in like the actual offense of what they're doing. There was some passing stuff that was whatever, but it wasn't that bad. And then this year now they can't serve, so it's just like, can we catch a break? And Reagan Engler was still out again for this, so that
Oh
didn't
yeah,
help. They probably
right.
do win another set at least if she's in there in the rotation. But I do think it's been letting some younger players get out there more, and maybe when Reagan gets back, if she's not as mobile, we can just slide her back over to the middle blocker. That'll help with your blocking issue, Tyler, if she
Yes,
can't move quite as much
yes,
with the
I'm
foot
all for it.
ankle injury, and you still have your youngins over on the outside hitter spot. I'm just saying, as I pretend to be a coach. But no, it would be helpful to get her back just from a leadership standpoint. She's trying to lead from the sidelines, but it's not the same as being out there and being able to talk in the huddles and all that. So, but yeah, there's some good stuff happening. It's just like we'll see if they keep getting better. I saw them at the soccer game, and they were talking to some fans and like encouraging them to come back. They're like, "Come back next week. We're going to be better next week." So I'm gonna
Well, I
take
love
them at their
that.
word and say when they get back to Lubbock next week after going to Houston on Saturday, they're going to be better. I don't know who they play, but we'll preview next week's game on Monday. But yeah, so shout out volleyball. They just got to keep getting better. That's the thing. We'll see where they are at the end of the year. That's what Coach Greystone said, is to not judge them by this part of the season, but how the back half of the season, how that goes. So hopefully they can make up some hay there. Again, they play Houston on Saturday at 1 p.m. That'll be on ESPN Plus if you'd like to watch them. I believe Houston just lost to TCU in their match on Wednesday, but we'll see if we can hand them back to back L's. Usually a pretty scrappy squad down there at Houston. One of our players transferred from there, Bellamy, so maybe she'll go off. Revenge game.
Hopefully she does.
Calling it now.
I
Career
mean,
high
yeah.
for Ashton Bellamy.
Houston 2 years ago, they were ranked. They were doing pretty good. And then last year, I think we were able to beat Houston, I think, when they came here, I
That was a
believe.
solid win.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a solid
I think it was
win.
at Houston, actually.
Oh, it was at Houston. Hype, even more
Yeah.
hype. Let's do it again this year. I think that Houston is a team that was picked to kind of. They're kind of chilling in the bottom of us in the preseason standings. Take those for what they're worth. But honestly, I think that
They lost a lot.
this is a good reset. I think this would be a good reset win, get us back on the right track, take some of that intensity you had in the Baylor game and just release it all out on Houston and get back to where you were at. I mean, cuz yeah, I think we are looking really good. I mean, like you said, the youngins. I do want to give Callie her shout out. I mean, 19 kills. The only second person was Addie Knuff that had 9 kills. I mean, that's a 10 kill difference. Callie was just doing it and she's just a freshman, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
when she hits it, I've said it before. Like I don't know a lot when it comes to volleyball, but I know that when she hits it, it looks different.
Oh, it's beautiful
Sometimes
volleyball.
she's
Keep her
she's
here.
making a lot of errors. She's making a lot of errors too, but that's the freshman in her. But she has
Right.
talent for sure. And they were with Reagan out there working through. I think she had the most attacks on the night too, so she was getting a lot of chances, and then that led to her leading in kills. But yeah,
For
so
sure.
there's some good stuff happening there, and then they just got to figure out how to turn that into wins. But I agree. Let's get a win on Saturday. 1-1 all of a sudden. Let's go back to 500. Let's get it done. All right, so that's volleyball. A quick softball fall ball update because I think some people that watch our show would literally just cancel us if we stop doing fall ball updates. You'll love them so much. No, I get it. There's no way to watch them. There's no way to know what's happening. The team's not putting out box scores. The team's not even tweeting about them this year. At least last year they did, but I guess it's because they're scrimmaging themselves, so there's not much to do. But I went to the Tuesday game. We didn't make it to the one tonight, Thursday, as we're recording this because soccer was going on, so no updates from that. But Tuesday was fun. I don't even remember the final score, but it was a lot to a little. One team had 10 or something, and one had 1 or 2. But a lot of fun defensive plays, a lot of big moments in this. You kind of had everything you wanted in this one, Tyler. I'm not going to lie. I loved some defense. Logan Holloman started off the game with a little bloop to like in between dead zone right to third. You're not going to throw her out. She got on, and then we just kind of like moved her over, and she ended up scoring a run. Like it was like a manufactured run. Good start to the game. Real softball right there. But in between all that, Alana Johnson robbed Taylor Panel of a home run. And I wish I had gotten a picture of it, but I thought it was a home run because off the bat, everybody did. So I was taking pictures of Taylor to get her reaction. And then I turn at the last second to at least see Alana. And she doesn't just, it's not like one of those where she trotted back to the fence and was there for a while and then just jumped up straight and caught it.
Yeah.
She, like, on the full sprint, jumps in the air, floats through the air majestically, hand about a foot or two over the fence, and pulls it back.
Dang. Go a lot. Wow.
It was
Wow.
big time. I really hope the team, there wasn't really anybody else out there taking pictures. I didn't even see team personnel, so I don't know if they had anybody out there doing media for them, but it was hype. Big time stuff. Alana later in this game hit a home run. I'm going to say she's one of we'll do a video when fall ball's over or something to take our surprises of camps, our best performers. We're about halfway through fall ball right now. Alana Johnson is not a surprise because we know the talent, but perhaps the performer of camp. Now, I've missed a couple of games, but she's had a few home runs now. That defensive play, she's getting hits. She's playing confidently. She looks very fit. It's like she took off season like, oh, we brought in some big players, but they're not taking my spot. And I mean that in a good way. Like, that's the kind of competitive fire you want on a team. And you see that from a number of players on this team. They're all fighting for jobs. I saw Jackie Liz playing first base on Tuesday. Like, that girl's like, put me wherever, coach. Let me in the lineup. She's played every position in the infield but catcher in the games that I've been at. So that was good. Maya Davis had an inside the park. Look, boom. They
Okay,
didn't give an
Maya.
error on the play, so I think it was a legit inside the parker. It was just one of those where a hot shot to the wall, and the fielder tried to get it, but it hit the wall and then bounced like all the way to center field. And that's all
Oh my
Maya
goodness.
needs. So
Yeah.
it wasn't an error. It was just a
Maya's
bad bounce off
fast.
the wall. And Maya she didn't even slide it home. Like, I'm talking stand up
Oh my gosh.
inside the
Okay,
parker.
Maya. Okay, Maya.
Like, like somehow Maya Davis has gotten faster. I don't know how this is possible, but she's done some stupid stuff in fall. I don't understand how she's getting faster. I need to know what she's eating. I'm concerned. She should be studied. Haley Toney made a great play at shortstop. Jumped up, got a ball. Shortly after, Henson, I'm forgetting her first name all of a sudden. Henson, she's a freshman playing shortstop. She made a diving play at shortstop as well. Angelina Condi, freshman, third baseman, had a couple of really clean plays at third base.
She's been looking
Taylor
really
Panel
good.
had a play. Mia Williams had nothing spectacular, but she had a lot of balls hit to her in this game and made all the right plays on every single one of them, tagging a runner,
Beautiful.
throwing to third instead of throwing to first, like smart
We
situational
love
plays
that.
from Mia
Yep.
Williams in this defensively. And Desiree Spearman, she would be my surprise of fall. Alana's not a
Ooh.
surprise because we know she's
Right.
been the performer, I think. But Desiree Spearman, I knew she was a good pitcher, but like I didn't know if she was going to be a factor for us because we have so many options, and she won't be a 1 or a 2 because you have KT and Nyjah, but she's just straight nasty. I haven't seen her give up a run yet. Have you? I mean, maybe she did in this game. I don't remember, but I think the run that came through when she was out there already did. I think she put up zeros again, and I swear she was working on something in this game. I don't know what it was, a new pitch, or just the way she's coming off the mound, I don't know. But she was doing something silly because all the coaches were like, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" And they're all like, "It sounded like it sounded like they were saying like, yeah, she just worked on that in like one bullpen the other day, and now she's doing it in the game." And it just seems like she's a quick learner, and Coach Archibald's working with her, and it seems like they have a really good relationship, and they're having fun out there. So Des Spearman might be getting some time in the circle for us. Might be a nice extra arm that we didn't think would be a factor this year. I don't know where that happens because KT once again was great in this game. She gave up a run or two, I think, but not any home runs in this. But striking out people, hitting 70 regularly on the gun in this one, having fun. It's kind of different. The vibes between her and Nyjah are so different. Like when Nyjah gets a strikeout, she like jumps and spins around, and KT just grabs the ball and goes back in. But I feel like in a big moment, I mean, this is fall ball, so I am excited to see like in a big moment like what her reaction is. Because we know she's a dog, but she's just like more like she needs it to be chill. I don't know. But yeah, those are kind of the highlights. And then on that kind of same vibe token, you can really tell that this team is getting to know each other more compared to the very first fall ball game we went to. I was noticing the differences between that and now 2 weeks later. It's like they know each other's names now, because that was like a day after freaking school started. It felt like it was so early that they started fall, but they're having a lot of fun at this game. They were joking around. They were communicating really well as well. They were calling out names and like encouraging whoever was pitching the whole time. Have all the little nicknames down now. They're all calling out all that kind of stuff. So you can see the team chemistry like growing before you, which is good to see. I know a lot of haters are all worried about the team chemistry out there, hoping that that's not going to be a problem. I don't see any issues with that. Like they were celebrating each other and all the things. So that was a big difference between this game and the first one I went to. There wasn't anything wrong with the first one, but you could tell like they didn't know each other at all yet. Like in that first game, I remember watching it. There was like zero kind of interaction. There was a lot of that, and they did the whole go in the stands thing again at this very briefly.
Dang, I'm always missing that.
It might be a Tuesday thing. Maybe it's a Tuesday.
Okay, maybe it's a Tuesday thing. I'll have to make a trip
It
out.
was late in the
Hopefully.
game this time. It was like the sixth inning. It's like they forgot to do it and then they did. But
Oh, well, that's good.
they might have saw that I was there. I'm kidding.
No.
I feel like, oh, Shelby's here. She gave us a shout out. We better do it. No. But yeah, that's kind of run through. I know a lot of people watch that, watch the shows for that portion, trying to get stuff. If there's ever any particular player you want to know about, just let us know. But I try to like take notes as I'm going. And those are the notes that I had. So there we go.
Yeah. I'm really glad fall ball. We're kind of in the middle of it right now, and hopefully, I'm excited for when those actual games start. But it's good to know that chemistry is looking good. I noticed that too. We always I remember last fall ball. I was like, yeah, like they're calling like Nyjah Nige, and then we were joking, yeah, by the end of the season they're gonna call her Nye at some point. Yeah, like it's so funny.
Team, they just
Yeah, it has to be one syllable. They have to get it down to one syllable. So I think it's funny when you pick up on those little things, like all these crazy nicknames. They're like, "Who's that?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, like Caitlin Terry, KT, or Des, like Desiree's Des." Like we don't call them by.
They were calling KT fives in this game.
Fives,
So
okay. There we go.
55. Pretty easy.
Oh, I see.
Oh, and Sam Leakin looked pretty good in this too.
Oh, that's good.
Chloe, actually, I didn't give Chloe. I think she ended up giving up quite a few runs because she stayed out there for a few innings. But in the first few innings, she was recovering a little bit more. Chloe's such a gamer, though. It's like really hard to evaluate Chloe Riasetto in fall ball. Like she needs the adrenaline and the pressure of a big time moment, and then you stick her out there, and she does what she does. But
she's a dog.
She's pretty solid in this until they kind of. Yeah, it's like she needs those moments. So fall ball is just kind of like she's probably just out there working on pitchers and stuff. But it got out of hand a little bit for one team, won by a lot, but it wasn't anything. It was like the best hitters. Well, I don't actually. That's not true because everybody's good. They had Maya on the other team, and she got an inside the Parker. So I can't remember who that was against. I don't think it was KT. That might have came against Des. I don't know. It all runs together. If I don't take notes, then I don't remember because it was so many days ago. So I told you the notes. Moving in to basketball. Promised you a few just thoughts. Again, I got to watch the women's basketball, like they scrimmage at the end. I think a lot of their practices are open to the public if anyone ever wants to go. I don't know if that includes us as media folk, if I can sneak into another one. But I had fun getting to watch them a little bit. It was the first day of practice, so I'll be honest, Tyler, and I told you this afterwards. I was like, it was pretty sloppy. Lots of turnovers, but here's my thing. And y'all know I'm honest, and this is my honest take, my hope, I guess, honest hope, is they were playing very fast. I didn't see a single set play. Not a single one. And I think that's a good
Wow.
thing. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lie. I saw them at the end. They did situations at the end, and they ran some beautiful sets and got wide open shots for like end of game moments. That was good stuff. But when they were just scrimmaging, they were both full court pressing, back and forth, a lot of transition play, and there was a point in the middle where there was like 4 turnovers in a row. I think Coach Giroux called a timeout and said, "Guys, this was the whole point of going to Germany. Like, what are y'all doing? Get it together," basically, which I love to see. Then they played a little bit better for a while, and then they kind of got a little stagnant. They stopped it again, told them to stop passing it around and staring at each other, and they got right back into it. It's the first day of practice, and those are all things that I'm like, I like to hear that they're being coached up on that. And you see the athletes flying around because y'all know my weird stat about this team that needs to be studied. And if I had the time in my life that I've mentioned before, they win games when they have a lot of turnovers. They lose games when they don't have a lot of turnovers.
Right.
And I've said, I think that's because they don't know how to play fast and not turn it over. And the only solution to not turning it over is like, hey, slow it down. Well, and I'm not saying this hasn't been happening, but I can say on the first day of this practice, the one that I've gotten to watch for the first time ever with this regime, they were playing very fast. And if you practice that way every day, you will eventually learn not to turn it over if you're getting coached up, which they were. I saw twice them getting stopped and coached up. So my hope is, Tyler, they're learning how to play fast, and so when they get into games, the turnovers won't be as insane, and they'll be able to beat people by big margins instead of these close one possession games because you've handed them 20 turnovers. So there's my hope. Lots to clean up. Bailey was looking like Bailey Mop, and she's fully healthy if anyone was concerned. Looked good. Snoda had some good moments. Didn't see anything flashy out of Gemma Nunes, the point guard that's supposed to be so fun from Spain, but she was just doing her job, which is all I really want out of a point guard. And that's what Chrissy Gerlich kind of told us in our show, is she won't really do anything flashy, and then all of a sudden she'll do something crazy. But again, it was like such an up and down thing. It was kind of hard to take it all in, but there was quite a bit of turnovers. But then when they didn't turn it over, it was some fun athletic plays, a couple of and ones. Really good shots from 3 that I don't think they went in the little small 10-minute portion I watched. But they were getting good looks. So we'll see. Bailey Maupin said after that, we talked to her, it's an emphasis, they want to play in transition. They don't want to run as many set plays. That's what they were doing when I was there, Tyler. So I know you weren't there, but if you have any questions, I guess I can answer them, or you can give your thoughts on basically what I just saw. But
Yeah. I love that. I think that was the biggest thing last year is like, yeah, this team would get caught up on set plays and they just wouldn't be run right. But if we can just go ahead and play fast and try to keep up with everybody else, that seems great. It seemed like when we picked up this transfer class, we picked, a lot of, athletic players that were able to create plays. And I'm just super excited to have a true point guard. Also to have Bailey be more in her natural position, obviously, and then just kind of seeing, how can we build off of Germany when we don't have someone like, Diona Gaston that we can just run through the entire time. I think that's been the biggest thing. Like, what did that look like when we were running through our 4s and 5s at practice? Like, because, we relied on Diona a lot in Germany.
Yeah, we didn't really run offense through her like we talked about, but she was just offensive rebounding so much that was like a lot of what our offense was when Danae Fritz wasn't scoring,
Right.
or Jalen Bristow. But Jalen looked good. Danae looked pretty solid. Again, I only got to watch like 15 minutes, so I'm not taking anything individually away.
Right.
I didn't see us. I don't think I saw us post entry pass a single time. But again, they were just playing in transition, so that could have been the directive. Like, it's hard to know when you just show up to the end of a practice. They literally could have been like, "Hey, play in transition for the next 10 minutes." Like, that could have been the drill, like what they were supposed to be doing, and they weren't supposed to be running offense. So I don't know, but I saw Jada Malone. She looks, I would say, a little bit healthier than Germany, but again, it's in person versus TV. I thought she looked pretty solid. She was posting up. We just weren't getting her the ball, getting up and down the court fine. Sarah Sonogo, with Sarah Sonogo, I don't know if I saw like any like leaps and bounds different from last year. I don't know what I was hoping for, but looks like a similar player to what we had out there last year. Again, saw 10 minutes of a scrimmage, but good athlete. She was sprinting the floor, had a block or two. Again, Snoda Collins, I think, is going to be an X factor for this team for sure. She had some really good moments. And Bailey's still going to have the ball in her hands a lot, which she did in this, but she wasn't bringing it up, which I did see her hesitate a few times, and it will be interesting to see how she gets it out of her brain to stop staying back. Because she would like start to go for the outlet, and then it's like she'd remember I'm not the point guard, and then she would run. So
Okay.
she's gonna have to get that out of her system. Where hey, no, Gemma's got it, Sydney's got it. She was on the same team as Gemma in this. Run the floor. You are now the out. Like you go, she's gonna get you the ball. She'll have to flip that switch in her brain. Even Danae to some degree, because she played a lot of point for us last year too. Both of them should have a lot of fun playing off ball, and Bailey was asked about that after, and she said, "I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I am excited." That's what Bailey Maupin said about having a couple of point guards and Gemma Nunes and Sydney Love, and we'll see if they stick with it. I think this year they actually feel like they have real ones, so maybe they won't kind of switch to Bailey mid-year. That's my hope, because I think that's the best chance they have to turn the corner. So good stuff. The energy was absolutely there. I was afraid someone was about to get hurt. They were playing so hard. So there was zero intensity problems at this practice. I was impressed with all of that.
It's really great.
And the way the players were taking coaching and holding each other accountable and all that stuff was absolutely there. They just the turnovers were insane, but it's first day of practice. So practice fast. Eventually you'll practice like you want to play, like they say. I felt like they were doing that. Again, not saying they haven't been doing that, but part of me kind of hopes they haven't been. You know what I mean? Like I'm clinging to this glimmer of hope that they're practicing that way, and it's going to get cleaned up, and then we're going to see that on the court when they play. That's me clinging to that. But the athletes are there. There's a lot of athletes on this team in the right positions. I would argue that maybe last year's team was more athletic overall, but there was like, if you like gave them like a grading scale and then you average all those points together, but the 5 that you can put on the court at the same time for this team, I think would be a higher number. Is that making sense? Because like a lot of our best athletes were at the same position last year, and so they couldn't all be on the court at the same time. Now I think you have at least one lineup of 5 that are all pretty solid athletes and can really get up and down. So yeah, I mean, I'd go to practice every day and give y'all updates if that was allowed, but I don't know when the next media availability is, but we'll get it. There's a story out on Bailey Maupin. If you haven't read it, the gist is I literally just asked her, it's like, you know, you're the first fourth year Lady Raider in a while. Can you take us through that process, or was it even a decision? And like, I'm talking this girl, like, didn't, dead in my eyes, didn't blink, and said it was not a decision. I was like, okay, Bailey Maupin. And then she went on and talked about why, and that's all in that article. It's good read, and Coach Gerlich is pretty honest as well about people DMing her and calling, and all of her players, really, just the day and age, and that Bailey didn't listen to any of that, and she saved. And it's really not like a shot at other people. Obviously, we have transfers. Like, that's not the point of this whole discourse. It's the fact that Bailey chose to stay anyway, when she is a player that could have gotten. She's getting taken care of here, as much as she probably is like, that's all I need. But she could have gotten more than she ever could have needed, and more, because that's the way the market was. And it was insane, the numbers people were getting. She could have gotten that. And she said, no, I'm going to finish what I started here. She wasn't going to do that, so good on her. And men's basketball, again, we didn't get to watch practice, but my biggest takeaway from Grant McCaslin's media, that's the only one that's done media, they had no players or anything, was how his praise of Lawan Watts, says he just goes about it the right way, loves basketball. There's a lot of intangible stuff, and then he talked about how good of a basketball player he is. I picked up a note on that for multiple reasons, but he's kind of fitting in the oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name, but Darren Williams' role as last year. But maybe bring some different intangibles to the table, and I'll leave it there. So that is interesting. And then he, in response to a question about J.T. Toppin being a great player, Big 12 Player of the Year, he talked about him, obviously. And then he said, I actually think we have another player that could be the Big 12 player of the year this year, one of the best players in college basketball, and Christian Anderson. He's very excited about his development and how well he did playing overseas with the World Cup team for Germany and what he's going to do in year 2 as a sophomore. I'll just say this about Christian Anderson. I've seen enough of him play, especially this summer in international ball. This is the last year he's going to be a Red Raider.
Yeah.
Unless we back up the Brinks truck like we did to keep JT. But he's probably going to get drafted in the first round next year, and that's a lot of money to turn down. So unless we can give him that somehow to stay, I think this is the last year of him. So enjoy it. Good player.
Very good player. I'm excited for this men's basketball season. I think that, I think they picked us like, or they were like, oh, we were a top 10 team in the country, and then Joe Lenardi, that fool, put us at like a 6 seed preseason. I'm like, please, we're not going to be a 6 seed.
We're
going to be.
That's absurd.
Oh yeah, no, he picked us as a 6 seed, which is disrespectful because with all these players returning in Toppin and C4, and then getting up that transfer portal class with people like LaJuan Watts, I'm not worried whatsoever. I'm super excited. I am a little bit. We have a good non-conference schedule as far as like away opponents. Our home opponents aren't the best, but our away opponents, we have some pretty big ones. Pretty good ones.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Schedule releases came out this week. Obviously, we'll talk about that more when season comes out. But we now have the full entire Big 12 schedule for men and women's basketball. Y'all take a look at that and, just see who we're all taking on.
Yeah, I didn't go too deep dive on the men's because I don't know if it matters. I think that team will just do what they do as long as they're healthy. I am a little worried about the health of the team. They're fine. Grant said he expects everybody to be healthy by the start of the season, so that's good. But I think there are some people dinged up now. But it always concerns me when you start the year that way. They're not super deep at some positions, so that's what will hurt them. But if their players are healthy, they're absolutely going to do great things this year.
For sure.
The women's schedule is pretty front-loaded, at least with the home games. You have a lot of home games in January that you got to win. But we'll talk about that another time. So I do like how it's kind of spread out otherwise, though. You have like the top teams mixed in with a couple of middle teams and then back to a top team. It's just like they're all on the road or vice versa for a bit. But we'll see if it matters or not. You don't really know how good of a schedule is or not until you see non-con, because you don't really know if some of these teams are good or not until you see non-con. You think they are, but like Kansas, is Kansas going to be good this year? I don't know. Is Kansas State going to be good this year? They lost all those seniors. I don't know. Like that usually last year would have been a really hard game, but I'm like, is it this year? I don't know. Like I need to see them play. So maybe we'll talk about that in a few weeks into the season. But someone asked her like about what she thought about. She was like, I haven't really thought about it. Something about focused on the first game of the year. Typical coach answer, but I kind of agree with that because like I don't know. I don't really know.
Nobody knows.
You start the Big 12 with Baylor, who I think we can confidently say is going to be good at basketball. And that's a big one off the bat. But other than that, c'est la vie. I mean, freaking Houston soccer is good all of a sudden this year. Who knows who's going to be that in the Big 12 in basketball?
It'll be us.
It'll be us.
Yep.
We claim the role.
We claim that.
I'm
claiming it now. I'm claiming it now and an NCAA tournament appearance. However far God will take us. But we're claiming all of it.
We deserve this.
Please.
I know there's far more important things going on in the world right now. But the gals deserve
12
it.
years.
Not us. The players on the team have been working for this in different ways. The coaches. Please, everybody, just please. We can lose by 30 once we're there. I don't care. Just get us there. All right, we're done being dramatic. That's all I got, Tyler. We'll see y'all on Monday. It'll be a light Monday show. We'll come up with something fun to do. Maybe we'll have an interview coming up from a certain new softball recruit. I don't know. Maybe we'll fit that in somehow. Stay tuned. Subscribe for that reason. You never know what we're going to put out on our show. Until next time. Rag 'em.